I'm Kara. Welcome to another Lawn Fawn video. We're focusing on Christmas fishes today, and Santa Claus is going to be our main character. This is a layered card, and we're using Slide On Over Waves, the Shadow Box Card Mountain add-on, Bayou backdrop, and a fancy wavy banner in Cilantro cardstock. I'll begin by ink blending using the life-changing blender brushes, and this is Distressed Oxide and Peacock Feathers. I'm blending over the slider and also on the front of the card. The slider will be directly over the card, so I wanted it to match. And this is Blueprint Sketch, and I want to cover enough area because you will see this section through the Shadow Box Card Mountain add-on, which will be on our top layer. So you'll see that as we put it together, but just know that we need this to match up. And now I'm putting on a little bit of black soot because it's further in the background in the ocean, and so it's a little darker. That looks good. So starting on the front panel, this is broken china, and it's giving us a nice light front watery area. And I'm going to go around the edges of that with Mermaid Lagoon. Just get all around those edges and then come back with the broken china to blend the two nicely together. So I said it's a layered card, so now we have one more layer, and that's our bayou backdrop. And I'm just kind of closing off or covering up the what I'm calling seaweed with the paper to get on that Mermaid Lagoon. And now I'm using peeled paint, and that's going to be our seaweed. And then I'm going to pick up some blue from my glass mat and add it to that peeled paint so that they blend nicely together. And I'll even brush up onto the seaweed so that it kind of has a little more depth to it, adding the blue to the green. Now that I have them all ink blended, I want to take Lawn Fawn's liquid Stardust, and I'm putting a couple of drops on my mat and a stiff bristled brush, and I'm flicking that onto all of the ink blended areas. I'm sorry that's on top, but I promise you there is liquid Stardust up there. And now I'm just patting it off, and now you can see it on there, and it's so shiny. But I wanted it a little bit more, and you can see I made a really big drip on the far back side. So I just take a little bit of the oxide ink and blend it up, and it's fine. So it's all set and all watery. It's time to start stamping our images, and I'm using jet black ink from Lawn Fawn because I'm going to be Copic coloring all these little guys, and I'm showing you one of each, but I do make a couple of some of these characters, and then I'm going to white heat emboss. So I'm getting this sentiment, and it's from the same stamp set. It's from Christmas Fishes, and I used clear ink and stamped that up, and now there's a little music note because I want to indicate that they're singing this Here Comes Santa Claus. And so I put that on both sides of the sentiment. And then I will get out my Lawn Fawn white embossing powder and sprinkle that on. And then I'll take it off camera and use my heat gun to heat it up, and there it is, all set to go. So I can just put this back into the jar, and it's all set. So it's time to start coloring. And this is such a wonderful seaweed Christmas tree. I love it. But this is a star on top in Y13 and Y17. And then I will color the entire green portion of this Christmas tree in G02, and that's my lightest color. And then I'm coming in with my darkest color, G19, and going into the areas of the seaweed that are in the background so that they really show some depth there. And then I will blend that out with the G05 and use that to give some shadow up at the top of the tree as well. And once I have that all set, then I'll just blend everything out with the G02. Then I'll come in with the G19 and just put in a little bit where it just seemed to blend away. Now all of the Christmas lights are going to be red with an R29 and a touch of R59. And then these shell ornaments I'm going to do in two colors. There's RV02 and RV66 for some of them. And then the other ones are going to be YR02 and followed up with an R05. And those are going to be the colors that I use in the animals, our sea creatures, and also in their Christmas presents. So here's our jellyfish, and I wanted to have a purple to pink color, and so what I used was that RV02 and now the RV66 to give it a little undercoat for the purple color that I will come in with. Just getting in those shadows, and then I'm blending this out with the RV02 a little. Not that it's going to blend well, but just to kind of wash it down a bit. It's kind of preparing the area then to get the purple brought in. And I'm using the V04 for my purple color. It's a bright, probably one of the brighter violet colors in the Copic markers. But in order to get this to blend well, I'm going to take the RV02 marker and touch the tip of the V04 marker and blend them together that way. You can see maybe that there's a little pink going on that violet tip, the V04 tip, but it doesn't hurt the tip at all, and it will not show up at all pink. So onto the Santa hat, I've got a C1 and blending that in with a C0, and then all these Santa hats are going to be the same. So RV24 to coat first, and then an R29 for the shadows. And then I will come in with the 24 and blend that into the hat. And then R59 just at the very inner parts of the folds. Onto our little fish. All the fish are going to look the same. They are YR02 with an R05, and that will be for the darker shade. I'm not putting too much detail into any of these images because there are so many of them, and they really fill up the card. So I wanted to keep it simple so that you just see the bright colors on the watery background. So our Mr. Crab here, Santa Claus, he is starting out with an R22 and building up with an R24. And you can see here that I didn't put faces on the jellyfish or our crab yet, but don't worry, they will get faces in the end. Our jellyfish will be singing the song, the sentiment, Here Comes Santa Claus. And then our crab, he's going to have a winking eye, kind of like he's snapping his claws saying, yeah, right back at you, baby. So we'll just wait. You'll see all that soon enough. All right, so I wanted him a little darker. I put in an R27, and then I'll come in with the R24 and blend that in, and you'll see it really will redden up or darken up Mr. Crab here. And then blend the rest out so it's smooth with the R22. Our bubbles are going to be a BG 000 with a little bit of a BG01, and I'm kind of making them look iridescent a bit, so that's an RV02 and the RV66, just adding those colors that we're using in other parts of the images. Here are their faces. Phew. All right, so the singing one, and here's a singing one with eyelashes. So they are all set, and so I'm going to cut them out using the coordinating dies for Christmas fishes, and I'm using this Post-it tape to hold down the dies. I really find that this works better for me than anything else I've tried. So if you don't like the tapes that you're using, try this Post-it tape. It really works well. All right, well, they're all cut out, as you can see, and it's time to assemble. So I'm putting the bayou backdrop onto the mountain layer, and I love that mountain layer because it's going to give me room to add my characters. You'll see that, but we're just going to carefully get that on, and I'm not going to glue the seaweed because I'm going to be tucking things in. So here you can see I can get that tree in there, and I will just straighten it a bit, and it has a place to adhere to behind it. So now for the gifts, and okay, I'm a little silly. This is, each of the the jellyfish are getting one of those shells that match them, and each of the fish is getting an orange gift that matches them. I don't know, it just ended up that way, but it's all fair. You gotta be fair on Christmas morning when you're giving out gifts. So here's one of our little fish. He's waiting and watching for Santa Claus to come, and a little seaweed on that side. And with so much going on over there, I want to get a balance, and so here's a rock tucked in behind some of our seaweed, and I'm going to build this up a little bit with some more seaweed and a little more, and then I'll put a rock in front of that, and it kind of balances out the other side. Now what's really going to balance out the two sides is to get these little fish on this side. It'll give that pop of color over here. So just get those two adjusted, and then it's time for our jellyfish, who are up near the top, and they are ready to sing. So they have their little bubbles coming from their mouths because they're singing, and then they are going to sing what's on the banner. Now this is the fancy wavy banner. It's one of 3 banners in that die set, but I love this one because it has this Z-fold that you just bend back and then forward, and then I take a bone folder and just crease them so they're nice and crisp. And then just put some glue on the back and put that down. One thing I like is that you could glue these closer together and make that curve in the front, but I didn't need a curve because now I'm putting on my layers. I have so much depth with the layers that I didn't want anything layered on that front one. So I'm using a thicker than normal fun foam. I think it comes in 2 sizes. This is the thicker size, and I'm putting this is lawnfawn's double-sided tape, and it worked great for this. So I put it on both sides of the foam, and now I flipped the panel over and put a penny underneath, and I've got this piece of foam, same thickness as the back, and a little double-sided tape on it on both sides. And then I'm going to take a powder bag and just make sure that there's no stickiness on the sides of it, but sticky on the part that's going to go on the penny. And so we have them all set, and so I can just take off the liners on the double-sided tape and set it on the card. And there he goes, side to side. All right, so time to add the top layer, and again, I'm going to add the thick fun foam because he needs room to move. And so we've got to give him that. So this is thick foam. Is this a thick card? Yes, it is, but so worth it. So took off the liners on the double-sided tape and pressed it on there, and now there he goes, back and forth. Here comes Santa Claus. Oh yeah. So, well, let's get him out here in the middle, and he's all set. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video today, and if you did, if you'd like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and have a great day. Bye.